forced you to come here or who forced you to eat the food? The reason why you have that shocked reaction is because you are sensible. And every time a sensible person meets a fool, it is a shock to the sensible person system. It's really hard not to call a fool, but we will keep trying. And I promise you, I am not being abusive by calling them fools. That is the actual biological classification or nomenclature or name for people who exhibit certain characteristics, and I will explain. Ibi táyé bá yí sí ni wọ́n bá wọn yí sí o. Ibi táyé bá yí sí ni wọ́n bá wọn yí sí. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí mo wọlé ayé. And so on and so forth. My objective here is not just to tell you not to respond or to not let it bother you or I. Just telling ourselves that will not work. It hasn't worked and will not work. We already know that we shouldn't let it bother us, but it still does. Well, not after what I'm about to tell you now. We didn't make a wisdom roundup video for our last interview with Dr. Adewale Ayuba. You know, the part at the end of the video where I share some wisdom, and more than a few people actually missed that part, which was a bit surprising for us. We do know that it is of value, no doubt, but we just thought that you came mainly for the interview and that you would not miss that part if we separated them and then made this wisdom video stand alone, which is what you're saying right now, you know. So we're going to make them still. It's not as if we're going to trash them, but it's our intention to make them separate videos. We've heard you loud and clear. You know, the videos are not going anywhere, only that they will now stand alone on this channel without having to be an addendum to an interview, without joining it to the end of an interview, because the truth is that there is a lot that I'd like to share with you that often has nothing to do with what a guest said during an interview. So if we have to put it at the end of every interview, I feel as if it has to be pertinent or relevant to what the guest said in the interview, and that is not always the case. So we appreciate your comments, but that's the thing, you know, that's what I want to talk about, those comments, because I would have completely missed those wonderful comments because I typically do not read comments, and neither do I encourage members of my team to spend a lot of time reading comments. And again, that is the point of this video. It's not as if we don't appreciate the comments that we get, because the truth is that the more the comments, the better the YouTube channel will perform. So we don't disdain your comments, but it's just that comments are a double-edged sword, because inside your helpful and appreciative comments are always comments from fools as well. When the sons of God gather, then Satan comes as well. When you gather in the wheat, you will have tares. When you sow gari, there will be sand. So if you're a content creator of any sort, amateur or professional, buried in your comment section, no matter how well you're doing, will be a critical representation of fools. And I promise you, I am not being abusive by calling them fools. That is the actual biological classification or nomenclature or name for people who exhibit certain characteristics, and I will explain. Now, what I want to speak about affects every sphere and every area and every type of life and work, regardless of whatever you do. But since my own job is to deliver value through content creation, then I am going to be speaking primarily from that angle. But as I've said, whatever your profession, this also speaks to you. Have you ever seen a video or a post online that you enjoyed? You thoroughly enjoyed the video or the post, you appreciated it, it either made you laugh or it made you cry, or it inspired you or motivated you, or it held your attention, or any one of several sentiments and good feelings. And then you wanted to know if other people appreciated it just like you did. And so you went to the comment section, like all of us are want to do, or like most of us are want to do every now and again. You know, you like to see what other people are saying as well. And you were correct. Comment after comment, you see people's appreciation. They enjoyed it, they liked it, they're grateful for it. And then suddenly there is this comment that is completely different and contrary. This person doesn't just disagree with the fact that you liked what you just saw or what you just listened to, but they insult and they abuse the owner of the page or the content creator or both of them. And then you start wondering, did this person just watch the same thing that I just watched or to which I just listened? Now, The reason why you have that shocked reaction to their comment is because you are sensible. And every time a sensible person meets a fool, it is a shock to the sensible person system. You know what? Let's be kind. Instead of using the word fool, let's just use the word unwise going forward. Let's just say unwise people. Let's be kind. Now, this person is not unwise simply because they seem to be disagreeing with everyone else, although that is enough to classify them as unwise, and I will explain that shortly. They are unwise because of how they've chosen to express or to show their disagreement. When a person comes to your page or to your website or wherever you upload your content and where you do your business, and they actively start hurling insults at you and abusing you, it is tantamount. It is equal to if they came to your physical residence in real life, where every day you serve people drinks and food free of charge. You refresh people free of charge. So any passers-by can just stop over and eat and drink on you. And almost everybody who does so, they thank you. They are appreciative. They eat your food. They drink your drinks. They thank you. And then this person comes one day, and after eating the free food and imbibing the libations that you served, they start to hurl insults at you and abuse you. The rice was undercooked. The stew was too salty. The beans was filled with stones. The pap was too cold. The akara was too hard. You are the worst cook in the world. You are an idiot, and so on and so forth. At that point, you are likely to be thinking, but who forced you to come here, or who forced you to eat the food? That is why they are unwise in the first place. That's what makes them unwise in the first instance. That they came to a place where nobody forced them to be, that they partook of what you offered or that you served, which nobody forced them to do, and that they didn't have the gumption to either be thankful or to keep their opinions to themselves, since they didn't pay for your services. Because you see, while it was free to them, it was not free for you to provide it to them or for them. It cost you something. So unless they paid for it, they have no right to state a contrary opinion, because not only was it free, they could have left at any time. Nobody forced them to stay there and partake of what you were offering. But here is the irony. Here is the biggest irony. You will find that in almost all cases, the people who actually pay value for your services, they do not insult you even when they have problems with the service that you're providing. Now, I'm not talking of people who seek so much discount, who want things cheap, that they will price you until they are almost getting your services for free. No, not those people. Those types of people can often be the worst clients. The less they pay you, the more they want from you. I am talking of clients who appreciate your service or product and pay you your value for it. Those ones almost always seek resolution first, even when they have a problem with your service. It is a fool who receives It is an unwise person who receives for free and then turns around and insults the source from whence the largesse came. That is why the great teacher said, "Do not give to dogs what is sacred, and do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn around and tear you to pieces." You see, even Yeshua used animal references to describe these types of people. It's really hard not to call a fool, but we will keep trying. Of course, you and I don't agree with everything we see online, and it's not because a person disagrees with you that they are unwise. But as every sensible person knows, there is a proper way to do things without resorting to insult or abuse. But you see, you are sensible, that's why you know that. That lesson seems to be very difficult for an unwise person to understand. Now, as damning as all of that is not even the principal reason why this person who is hurling insults at you or abusing you in the comment section of your page or wherever you conduct your business innocently, wherever you upload content, that is not even the reason why they are unwise. That's not the principal reason. The principal reason is in something that the Omoluabis, the Yoruba people, say. Well, it's two things actually, but I've taken the liberty of amalgamating them into one. Ibi táyé bá yí sí, òun ló yẹ ká bá wọn yí sí, àwa ò sì ní kọ ẹ̀yìn sí ibi táyé kọjú sí. These sayings mean essentially that it is wisdom to flow in the general direction in which human progress and energy are headed or pointed to at any particular time. The literal interpretation is personal actually. It is a person saying that wherever the world turns to, that is where I also will turn to. So that when the world has moved on to cell phones, I am not still carrying a pager around or using a desk phone exclusively. So that when the world has moved on to cars, I am not still insisting on riding horses. In fact, Queen Salawa Abeni made it more popular in circa 1991, I think, singing Ibi táyé bá yí sí ni wọ́n bá wọn yí sí o. Ibi táyé bá yí sí ni wọ́n bá wọn yí sí. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí mo wọlé ayé, and so on and so forth. Now, having said this, however, the Omoluabis also hold that individuality is at the core of success, and King Sunny Ade encapsulated it very well, singing Èmi ò bá wọn wá, èmi ò ní bá wọn lọ, torí ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ láàrin wa, ṣebí ilé ayé, ilé ayé yìí la pàdé ara wa. Meaning that, look, we came to the world differently. We came to the world as lone individuals, so that I don't have to do what every other person does, all right? Now, in that instance, he was qualifying and addressing rumors of his death, his untimely death. That's what he was singing about. But the same principle applies, that to be successful in life, you don't have to do what every other person does. In fact, it is almost always certain that if you're going to be successful, you usually have to go against convention. You have to go against popular opinion. So we seem to have a paradox. On the one hand, don't swim against the tide of humanity. On the other, be your individual self, even if it means swimming against the tide of humanity. So, which is which? Well, it's quite simple actually. Both are correct. It is where your individuality, as far as your destiny and your calling are concerned, that you should stand on your own and swim against the tide if you must. When it comes to the problems you were put on earth to solve for us, thereby making our lives better, please swim against the tide and popular opinion if that is what it takes. If, for example, you live in a lawless, corrupt, and decadent society, and you are called to speak out for the oppressed and the downtrodden, which all of us are called to do really, then swim against the tide by all means. Be a lone voice in a sea of conformity, and may life bless you for that. So it is as it relates to making life better for other people and serving people that you are empowered and blessed by swimming against the popular opinion, if the popular opinion is wrong. However, when you go to somebody else's page or wherever they do their work, which has nothing to do with your own calling or your destiny, unless your destiny is to be the social media police, and then after partaking of what they are offering, after partaking of their content, which they are giving you for free, even if you paid for it, after partaking of it, you start insulting and abusing them, whereas almost everyone else is praising them, it is that action that principally qualifies that person as unwise, because not only are they flowing in a direction that is contrary to the rest of humanity, they are doing so for no beneficial reasons to anybody. Because whose life have they made better, or how have they solved problems for anybody with their contrary or contrariwise opinion or action in that instance? How, by abusing and insulting you on your own page, have they made life better for anybody or solved problems for anybody? Imagine a flowing river where a lot of people are swimming with the tide, going with the tide and having fun. Then imagine seeing this lone person swimming in the opposite direction from everyone else, just fighting the tide, just fighting the flow of the tide and dissipating energy. There is no one who is drowning whom they're going to save in the other direction. So it's not as if there is a benefit to anyone from the activity. But you see, there is actually a very powerful reason why people are involved in these types of foolishness, even though they don't know. And this is my encouragement to you and I, which is the point of all of this actually. The point of this message was not to encourage unwise people to stop being unwise. King Solomon said, the great philosopher, that you cannot separate fools from their foolishness, even though you grind them like grain in mortar and pestle. And Africans will understand this analogy perfectly, that even if you pound a fool like you're pounding yam, you cannot get the foolishness out. Now wait. If Yeshua, Jesus, likened these people to animals, likened them to pigs and dogs, and King Solomon called them fools, both in the Bible, then why are we now hiding behind words and calling them unwise? Look, let's just call a spade as they say. So let's drop this unwise thing and go back to using fools. Look, a fool is a fool. It's not an abuse. It's a biological classification. Okay, just like some people are boys, some people are girls, some people are just fools. So this is not for them. And proof of that is that you can look in the comment section of this video and you will see foolishness represented there proudly, or should I say ignorantly. This is for you and I, the creative and productive ones. Because you see, as much as we like to tell ourselves that we don't care what anybody says or what comments anybody makes, we do. We do. Which is why you will sometimes find very productive and creative people online fighting back against fools. You, on the other hand, you are reading what this fool wrote under the video of someone whose content or work you enjoy. And you're wondering to yourself, why is this smart and creative person responding to the fool? Since it is obvious to you and to everyone else that the fool is a fool. Well, it is because even with our knowledge that we shouldn't pay attention to these distractions, it still hurts. And sometimes you don't know when you lose control and throw a punch back. Especially if you're the kind of person who's been keeping quiet for a while, you've been taking it for a while, you go through your comments, this fool abused you, another fool abused you, you let it go for a while. At some point, it boils over and you just grab the nearest imbecile or imbecile. Imbecile. You get the point. And so, my objective here is not just to tell you not to respond or to not let it bother you or I. Just telling ourselves that will not work. It hasn't worked and will not work. We already know that we shouldn't let it bother us, but it still does. Well, not after what I'm about to tell you now. I just read a book called The War of Art, and you should too. Awesome book, and it confirms some of the things which I already believe. The author, Steven Pressfield, defines resistance as the force, the living force that seeks to stop us from fulfilling our callings or destinies and from achieving success in life. And I'm paraphrasing here. This force, resistance, it is so insidious and sinister and cunning that it will use anything to make sure that we do not fulfill destiny, including possessing people to criticize us. Again, I am paraphrasing, but again, that is essentially the gist of it. That the resistant force in our lives that seeks to stop us from being productive will weaponize our greatest fears and our vulnerabilities, and it knows them because it lives within us. This resistance lives within us. Inside each of us lives the good force and the bad force. You know this already. The bad force is the resistance. And so, since the resistance which dwells inside us knows us very well, it weaponizes our vulnerabilities and our fears, and then it goes to look for unwitting vessels, empty minds, unproductive people who are naturally disposed to envy and jealousy because they are achieving nothing with their own lives. Because they are doing nothing with their own lives, they are disposed to envy and jealousy. And then it possesses them with those thoughts, and then they vocalize it or they type it in your comment section for maximum impact. Which is why it hurts so much when you read it. That is why even though there are 100 good comments under your content, under your video, under your post, that one negative comment can ruin your entire day. Now, unbeknownst to the fool who wrote it, he has inadvertently touched something in the neighborhood of your deepest insecurities, even though he doesn't know it. But he has touched it because it was supplied to him by your resistance. And so, despite your best sense and your best knowledge and your best understanding and your best wisdom, you find yourself either responding or becoming despondent. So, answer me this. Who in their right minds wants to be a tool in the hands of the negative energy of life? Nobody really. But because fools are unguarded, they have no power in the face of the force that is possessing them. And now you know why Yeshua, you know why Jesus prayed for those who were killing him and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He was essentially saying that, look, These guys have been possessed by my resistance. I say the same to both you and I right now, because even I need this message to respond to fools or to allow their comments to affect us beyond just 1 minute or a few minutes is to allow resistance to win. And many people have been unable to fulfill destiny for this reason. We are so afraid of what people might say, because the last time you tried it, some of them came into your comment section or where you do your work and they hammered you. They hammered you with comments that went straight to your heart and to your vulnerabilities. It's resistance, and you must resist resistance. As a famous writer once put it, resist the devil and he will flee from you. But still, I agree that sometimes you need to take action. So just block this irritant off your page or banish them from the place of your business. Just block them. Restrict their access to you and what you offer. Give it only to the people who appreciate you. All right, that's it. I'll see you on the next one. Now before we go, kindly consider, in fact, let me say, please do kindly consider that those are 3 platitudes. Usually you either use please or kindly or do, but I've used all 3. So please do kindly consider joining this page. I know that you've subscribed already and your subscriptions are great. The greater the subscriber count, the more we're able to attract more guests and do bigger things. All right, bless you. Thank you for watching.